In 1961, Hollywood was changing fast. The old studio system was crumbling, television was stealing audiences, and the kind of heartfelt, optimistic stories that once ruled the box office were quietly fading away. Right in the middle of that shift came Pocketful of Miracles, a warm, old-fashioned fairy tale directed by one of the greatest filmmakers who ever lived, Frank Capra. On the surface, Pocketful of Miracles looks like a gentle comedy about a street vendor pretending to be a high-society lady for her daughter's sake. But behind that charming setup is a film packed with hidden stories about Hollywood's past, about aging stars, about second chances, and about a legendary director trying to say goodbye on his own terms. Today, we're uncovering 20 hidden facts about Pocketful of Miracles, from secret remakes and behind-the-scenes casting drama to unspoken themes of dignity, class, and survival in a changing America. This isn't just trivia. This is the story behind one of Hollywood's most quietly meaningful films. Fact number 1: Pocketful of Miracles was actually a remake of a Capra classic. One of the biggest hidden facts about Pocketful of Miracles is that it wasn't an original story at all. It was a remake of Frank Capra's own 1933 film Lady for a Day. That earlier movie starred May Robson and Warren William and became a surprise hit during the Great Depression. Capra always felt deeply connected to the story because it captured something he believed in completely, that dignity and kindness mattered no matter how poor or forgotten someone seemed. By 1961, Capra wanted to revisit that story for a new generation. But the world had changed. The Great Depression was history. America was more cynical, and Hollywood had lost some of its innocence. Pocketful of Miracles became Capra's attempt to retell the same fairy tale, but with the weight of time, experience, and nostalgia hanging over every scene. Fact number 2: this was Frank Capra's final theatrical film. Perhaps the most important hidden fact of all, Pocketful of Miracles was Frank Capra's final theatrical feature film. After this movie, he never directed another major Hollywood production. For a man who gave the world It Happened One Night, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, and It's a Wonderful Life, this film quietly marked the end of an era. Capra knew Hollywood wasn't the same place anymore. Studios no longer trusted old-school directors, and audiences were drifting toward edgier material. Pocketful of Miracles wasn't just a movie, it was Capra's farewell letter to the kind of storytelling he loved. That's why the film feels so gentle, so sincere, and almost deliberately out of step with its time. Fact number 3: Bette Davis accepted the role for respect, not money. Bette Davis had nothing left to prove in 1961. She was already a 2-time Oscar winner and a certified Hollywood legend. Yet when she signed on to play Apple Annie, she wasn't chasing a paycheck or awards buzz. She took the role largely out of respect for Frank Capra and the story itself. Davis understood that Apple Annie was a role about aging, survival, and pride, topics she personally related to at that stage in her career. Hollywood was no longer built around actresses like her, and she knew it. That awareness adds a quiet emotional layer to her performance, making Apple Annie feel less like a character and more like a reflection of old Hollywood itself. Fact number 4: Apple Annie was a role most actresses avoided. At the time, playing a poor, elderly street vendor was not considered glamorous, especially for a major star. Many actresses worried that such a role would permanently damage their image. Bette Davis didn't care. She leaned fully into the wrinkles, the exhaustion, and the emotional vulnerability of Apple Annie. That decision is why the character works. Annie isn't played for laughs or pity. She's played with dignity. Davis treats her like a woman who has lived, lost, and survived, and that realism is what makes the film quietly powerful. Fact number 5: Glenn Ford was cast against his usual image. Glenn Ford was best known for playing tough guys, soldiers, and Western heroes. Casting him as Dave the Dude, a soft-hearted gangster who secretly helps the poor, was a deliberate choice. Capra wanted someone who looked dangerous but behaved kindly. That contrast reinforces one of Capra's lifelong themes: appearances lie. Ford's Dave the Dude is a criminal by definition, yet he has more compassion than the wealthy elites in the movie. It's a subtle critique of class and morality that runs quietly beneath the comedy. Fact number 6. The film's gangsters are based on real Prohibition era figures. The colorful gangsters in Pocketful of Miracles weren't pure fantasy. Capra modeled them loosely on Prohibition-era mobsters he'd observed during the 1920s and 1930s. These men often lived by brutal rules, but they also had their own twisted codes of honor. In the film, the gangsters help Apple Annie not because it benefits them, but because it feels right. That moral complexity reflects Capra's belief that goodness can exist anywhere, even in places society labels as corrupt. Fact number 7. The movie is quietly about class performance. One of the film's smartest hidden themes is how class is something you perform, not something you are. When Apple Annie is dressed up as a high society lady, everyone believes her simply because she looks the part. Capra uses this transformation to expose how shallow social divisions really are. Wealth, manners, and respectability are shown as costumes anyone can wear as long as society agrees to play along. Fact number 8. The hotel scenes were intentionally overdone. The luxurious hotel scenes are almost exaggerated on purpose. Capra wanted them to feel overwhelming, artificial, and slightly unreal. Compared to the streets where Annie normally lives, the hotel world feels like a fantasy set. This contrast reinforces the film's fairy tale quality. Annie isn't entering reality, she's stepping into a dream built entirely to protect her daughter's happiness. Fact number 9. The daughter represents immigrant aspiration. Annie's daughter Louise isn't just a plot device. She represents the immigrant dream, the belief that the next generation will live better, cleaner, and more respected lives than the last. Annie hides her poverty not out of shame, but out of love. The theme connected deeply with Capra, who was himself an Italian immigrant. He understood the quiet sacrifices parents make so their children never have to know hardship. Fact number 10. Capra intentionally avoided modern filmmaking styles. By 1961, filmmaking was becoming more experimental, faster, editing darker themes, and more realism. Capra ignored all of that. He shot Pocketful of Miracles in a deliberately old-fashioned style, with classical framing and gentle pacing. This wasn't ignorance. It was defiance. Capra knew exactly what he was doing. He was preserving a dying form of Hollywood storytelling. Fact number 11. The film was criticized for being out of time. Many critics at the time dismissed Pocketful of Miracles as outdated. They argued that its optimism felt naive in a world heading towards social upheaval. But that criticism misses the point. Capra wasn't trying to reflect the present. He was offering a reminder of what cinema once believed in: kindness, hope, and human decency. Fact number 12. Bette Davis considered this one of her most honest roles. Though she never publicly ranked her performances, Davis privately admitted that Apple Annie was one of the most honest roles she ever played. There was no glamour to hide behind, only truth. That honesty is why the character lingers. Annie isn't inspiring because she changes the world. She's inspiring because she survives it. Fact number 13. The movie has strong connections to It's a Wonderful Life. Like It's a Wonderful Life, Pocketful of Miracles revolves around a community quietly coming together to help one person. The miracles in Capra's world are never supernatural, they're human. That shared philosophy makes this film feel like a thematic epilogue to Capra's entire career. Fact number 14. The title was meant to sound humble. Pocketful of Miracles is intentionally modest. Capra wanted the title to suggest small, everyday acts of kindness, not grand transformations. The miracles in this film are subtle, personal, and fragile. That humility reflects Capra's worldview near the end of his life. Fact number 15. The film struggled at the box office. Despite its star power, the movie didn't perform well commercially. Audiences were moving on, and studios took note. This failure effectively ended Capra's directing career. Yet time has been kinder to the film than box office numbers ever were. Fact number 16. It became a favorite among film historians. Decades later, film historians began re-evaluating Pocketful of Miracles. Seen as Capra's farewell, the film gained new emotional weight. What once seemed old-fashioned now felt timeless. Fact number 17, the ending is purposefully quiet. Unlike Capra's earlier films, the ending doesn't explode with triumph. It fades gently. That restraint feels intentional, a man saying goodbye, not demanding applause. Fact number 18, the film reflects Hollywood's fear of aging. Nearly every major character is aging tired or out of place. That wasn't accidental. Hollywood in 1961 was struggling with its own mortality, and this film mirrors that anxiety. Fact number 19, Apple Annie is a symbol of old Hollywood. Annie represents something Hollywood was losing: dignity without wealth, respect without fame, and humanity without spectacle. Fact number 20, Pocketful of Miracles is a love letter to kindness. At its core, this film is about kindness surviving in an unkind world. That message may have felt outdated in 1961, but today it feels quietly radical. Pocketful of Miracles isn't loud. It doesn't demand attention. It waits patiently for the viewer willing to listen. And when you do, it rewards you with something rare: a sincere belief that people at their best will help each other simply because it's right. For Frank Capra, that belief was his legacy, and this film was his final gift. If you enjoy uncovering forgotten classics, hidden Hollywood stories, and the deeper meanings behind old movies, subscribe for more, because sometimes the quietest films have the most to say.